Well, hi, everybody. This is Dear Mama Sal, and it is Sunday afternoon, which means it's time for Soul Sunday. For those of you who are new or watching the broadcast for the first time, maybe on the replay, just to let you know that we do three different broadcasts every week. We do one on Friday lunchtime, Pacific time, which is our skills broadcast, and then we do another one at 7 o'clock on a Friday, which is our laughter one. And then we do this one on a Sunday afternoon, which is our sort of almost a meditation, time to regroup and think of the good stuff. So, welcome you all. And for those of you who don't know, Jody is here, and Jody is our admin, and she keeps track of things. So if you have a birthday coming up, like Pat, or if you have, anything else that we need to be aware of, let us know, and we will do our best to keep in touch. I really appreciate it at the moment because I've got a problem with my website where I can't get to the database that has all the birthdays on it. So if I've forgotten yours, please forgive me. Hi there, Beth. Please forgive me. It is not that I'm ignoring you. I just can't get to that database to make sure I've got everybody under control. So please keep me in touch if you can. If you've got any birthdays coming up this week, or you know of anybody who's got a birthday coming up, I would really appreciate it if you could help me on that. All right. So hi there, Erin. And so now, I thought I'd let you know that yesterday I went out to the movies, which I very rarely do. In the days of Netflix and Prime, I very rarely actually go out and go to the movies. But Marnie and I decided that we would do that. And we went to go and see. It was my choice as to what it was I wanted to go and see. And I decided to see A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. The story about Mr. Rogers. And because there were a number of things that came about for me. Number one was how stupid I can be. I went roaring out of the house, grabbed my raincoat, and off I went. And it wasn't until I got to the car and I was driving that I suddenly saw that the temperature outside was close to freezing. And I was wearing a thin, not like this, not like a sweat type top, but a thin summer top and a raincoat that didn't close properly because I put on weight. And so I'm looking at this temperature and going, seriously? And this is and it's going to be colder by the time I come out of the movie theater. But I went, never mind, I can do this. And so it was just like, oh, really? What was I thinking? And apparently there's snow due tonight. So, that'll give you some idea of how cold it is here in British Columbia at the moment. So now, I saw the movie, and the first thing was I went to a movie theater and for the first time in my life sat in one of those recliner chairs to watch a movie. I don't know if any of you have ever done that. And it was, it was just so luxurious. You just literally lie back and watch the movie. Beth is saying, can we still access the Dear Mama Sal coffee mug on the website? It might not get to you by Christmas. Would that be okay? Think I know where I packed them up in the garage, so I could find one. Do you know what color and what size? Do you want the coffee, the sort of the big one, or do you want the teacup type one? You know what I mean? One is the wide mouth one, and the other is the taller one. That is. I can do it. I just need to know where. Big black one. All right. I've got I've got a black one, and Erin, just both of you, if you want anything particular on the writing, let me know. But I pretty sure it's not gonna get to you by Christmas, but I will definitely get them to you. It just might not be there but for Christmas. All right? And Beth, like all things in life, there's one way to find out. Try ordering it online and see if it works. And if it does, you know that it's working, all right? Yeah. Okay, this is called the latte style one, apparently, Jody's telling me. Mm. Definitely an early Valentine's Day present, yes, or an in-between one. All right, so yeah, I'm dear delighted. And funny enough, I've got the cutting machine working at the moment because I was doing some other things, so it would be pretty easy for me to get that. It just takes a while, Beth, because I've got to cut it and put it on and then spray it a few times. You know what I mean? So it could take me a week to get them ready, and then with Christmas packaging, that's going to take longer. No hurry? Then it's definitely a go. Just let me know what you need. Right? And Erin, I'm sorry that yours went missing as well. So you know, just let me know what you've got. I'm not sure if I can get to the database to find out what you had, Erin, but let me know. Communication is a wonderful thing. All right, so what I did was I saw It's a Wonderful Day in the Neighborhood, and what I realized to my sadness, and I don't mind saying that, is that I have lost enough of my hearing, and I was not wearing a hearing aid, that I missed a lot of the movie. So I'm looking forward to seeing it again. Um, and for that I am so grateful that we have Netflix and we have Prime and stuff like that. So I know eventually it's going to come up on one of those, and I will be able to watch it again, and catch up on the bits that I missed. And I know that they were funny because the audience was laughing, and I'm going, I missed it. How sad is that? Never mind. But I thoroughly enjoyed it as a movie. By the way, it was much more heartfelt than I expected. And it was one of those movies that I think will be a classic. You know what I mean? We will keep seeing it because the story is so good about this man, and he really was something else. There's no doubt about it. It wasn't just a show; it was who he was. And for that reason, I obviously thought that today I would do some quotes from Mr. Rogers. And the one I'm going to start with, he said, all of us at some time or another, whether we're giving or receiving help, each one of us has something valuable to bring to this world. That is one of the things that connects us as neighbors. In our own way, each of us is a giver and a receiver. So I just wanted to ask you all, how many of you feel you're much better at being a giver than you are at being a receiver? Right? And because it amazes me how many people have a problem receiving. You pay them a compliment and they go, oh, no, 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 that's not true. Or you say that's a really pretty dress or top or whatever. And they go, oh, this old thing, they discount it all the time instead of just saying thank you. How kind of you to say that. So I would beg you all this Christmas season, as we are in it now, to please listen to what people are saying and to be grateful for what they are saying. Do you understand what I mean here? That, people do try to say nice things to you, but you're so busy in the hubbub of work and of living your life that you just miss it. And so take a little bit of time to slow down. Yeah, Erin is saying, I am way better at being a giver than a receiver. I mean, I appreciate what I am giving, but in a way, I'm way better at giving things than receiving them. So, Erin, I'd like you to work on that. All right. That would be my gift to you, is to ask you to be more aware of being a better receiver. And you all know the story of one of my friends who, when she was having a particularly hard time, I handed her a check quietly. And she gave it back to me and said, "No, no, 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 it's okay." And I said, "What are you doing?" And she said, I just, it's okay. I don't need this. And I said, you know, I have great pleasure in giving. And at the moment, I have the ability to be able to give you this money. So you are actually insulting me by not taking it. You are taking away my joy by not accepting the gift. So I would like you all to be aware. And by the way, she tells the story whenever we are in a group setting. She will say, the greatest lesson I ever learned was from Sal about receiving and how rude it is not to receive with grace. All right. So Aaron's saying, I take compliments with grace, but always feel awkward. Why? That is a really interesting point. Why do you feel awkward taking a compliment? Why do any of us, and you're not alone, Aaron. I thank you for being honest. Jody's saying, I'm practicing my ability to graciously accept compliments. I enjoy giving to others and consider myself selfish in that it brings me so much joy to give. Well, yeah, I've always said that people have told me, given me many compliments about things that I do. And I will say to them, I appreciate what you're saying, but I'm really not that noble. You see, I get such joy out of doing it myself. I get such joy out of teaching or helping people or thinking about these things. So it's not that I'm actually. Oh,
Sorry, Sal.
I nearly swore. Hi, Yvonne, and thank you very much, Yvonne. You have no idea how close I was. That word was running across my tongue, and I had. Thank you, sweetie. Uh, and so, for those of you who don't know, that is my dear friend Yvonne, who is also lives downstairs, and she's been my friend and tenant for 20 years now. And on Sundays she brings me a treat. But because I got my headphones on, I didn't hear her come up the stairs. Oh gosh, but you are also, that's what I look like when I have a shock. How I stop that word coming out of my mouth, I have no idea. All right, so Erin's saying she's not always sure. She's not sure why she always feels so awkward. Well, just enjoy it. I'm so sorry about that, everybody. All right, so here's the next one for Mr. Rogers. Anyone who does anything to help a child in this life is a hero. And I don't know if you agree with me, but I think we all have a child in us. And therefore, I would like to say, in terms of what Mr. Rogers said, that anyone who does anything to help another person in this life is a hero. And because, as Jody said, we get such joy out of helping other people, there's nothing wrong with that. And so I would ask you to be a hero to somebody. Beth is saying, I blew up 32 balloons for a customer with our helium tank at work. She left, and then I went to my office. When I came back, there was a thank you note with $10 that I'm gifting to you. Wow, that's called paying it forward, Beth. That's very kind of you. Thank you. And Mr. Rogers said this, and she just did. Thank you, Beth. As human beings, our job in life is to help people realize how rare and valuable each one of us really is. That each of us has something no one else has or ever will have. Something inside us so unique to all time. It is our job to encourage each other to discover our uniqueness and to provide ways of developing its expression. So we've got a little group of us here today, and maybe we'll take a second to hear you guys pass on to the other members of this group, or maybe ones that are not here at the moment, what you have identified as their uniqueness to you. All right. And so, because it's important for people to know what it is that makes them unique to you. And I would like to suggest that it is so individual. My uniqueness to one person may be completely different from my uniqueness to another. It was interesting that yesterday when I was with Marnie, one of the things that she said again, and we happen to be talking about that, is that the fact that I am so incredibly honest in what I'm feeling and my um she said you are just so open with your realities. And she said, it's always such a pleasure to be with you and to listen to you, because it's just like it is what it is with you. You like this, you don't like that, and you don't feel him. You need to justify the why. It's I really like it, and I don't like that very much. And she said, it's so refreshing, Sal. So few people are able to do that. And I said, but the thing is, Marnie, you do understand the reason I adore you is because I can ask you a straight question and I will get a straight answer. That to me is your the value in my life. Hi, Nyasha, good to see you. We're doing quotes from Mr. Rogers today. And if you don't know who Mr. Rogers is, he was an incredible man that talked to children many years ago. A lot of us grew up listening to this man and watching him. So take a moment. And, I was thinking, you all know how I feel about Erin and how her courage, has been such an inspiration to me. So that is not a maybe. That's her uniqueness to me. How she copes is, just amazing to me. Beth, your ability, without doubt, your ability to take a lesson and run with it is mind blowing. I know that when I first met you, I really was stunned. I thought you were a troll, to be quite honest, because I would say something and you'd go, "Oh, that's a really good point," and you'd go away and work on it, and I could tell you'd worked on it because you'd come back the next time and give me feedback on it, and I'd go, "Is this lady for real?" And then you do it again, and after it took quite a few times before I realized, yeah, nobody had fed you that. And you were a sponge. You were just give me more, give me more. And what makes you so unique now is that I know you pass it on to others, and for that I am very, very grateful. Um, Jody, you all know how I feel about Jody, but I think it is watching Jody care for all of you the way that she does that makes me smile. It's not that she has to, it's just who she is. And I love that about her. And even when she's really struggling or scared or whatever, she never fails to care about other people. And I think it's a very rare gift and very selfless. And I certainly appreciate that. Nyasha, again, I see great courage in you and great talent to be able to learn. A lot like Beth. You listen to something and you get it, or you have no fear of asking me to explain it. I think that is one of your greatest talents, by the way, is that you have no fear of saying, I heard you say this, but I didn't understand it. Um, to me and ask me to give you another example or two, so that it can make sense. And I to me that honesty is just so wonderful. And Mr. Rogers said, discovering the truth about ourselves is a lifetime work, but it's well worth the effort. So I would ask you as well, what is it that you have discovered about yourself while you have been part of the extended family of Dear Mama Sal? That would be interesting to me. What is it that you discovered about yourself that you didn't know? Um, during the time here. Beth is saying, I can't go back into that deep hole. Only one way to get out of that hole. It's all up from here. Even when I start to go down a hill, I know it will slope back up. It's my unique way to feel hope. Oh, I so agree with you, Beth. I've been in that hole. And must admit that, like you, I said, I've been there a number of times, not once. I think I lived there for about 20 years of my life. And I just said, I don't ever want to go back there again. And I can feel, that vortex of when it's beginning to suck me down. And I go, I need to do something. Because if I don't do something, I am going to get caught up in this again. And I choose not to. Thank you, Beth. I know that feeling. Aaron is saying, I was going to say the same thing about Jody. She's going through so much and yet to spend so much time caring for all of us. Yeah, that's not a maybe. Absolutely, Aaron. Hi, Linda. Linda's saying, both of you, Sal and Jody, have got me through many a dark time. I've learned I'm capable of most things. Yes, you are, Linda. And because you are learning, what I see in you, funny enough, Linda, as much as anything, is you've learned a whole new level of trust. That is what I'd have to say. I feel that you have learned to trust yourself in a way that you never did before. My laptop is just having a little moment here, so I just need to readjust this. Hi, Nada. Just hold on one second. Bear with me here. Okay. So, Jody's saying, Niasha, I am blessed to know all of the Dear Mama Sal family. Thank you. And Jody also says, hello, Linda. So nice to see you. And you're an inspiration to us. Your 10-minute rule has changed lives. Yes, it has. No doubt about it. And Niasha saying, most definitely, Jody, they are so special, right? Nada's saying, hi, how are you? I hope you're all well. I'm not feeling well, but listening in with love. Well, we wish you well, Nada. And we are all the kinder for hearing from you. When I say kinder, I don't know why, Nada, but whenever you come in, I feel a sense of peace, and I cannot explain it to you. But the fact that you come in gives me, and isn't that nice and selfish of me? It always gives me a sense of peace when you are around. And I wonder if anybody else has that reaction. Nyasha's asking me, how do I know when I'm about to get sucked in to that vortex? What are some of the tactics or tricks that I use? First of all, how do I recognize it? I would say to you, Nyasha, that I start feeling sorry for myself. And I start feeling resentful of people. And I stopped being grateful. And I start beating up on myself. Those sort of things. When those things start to happen, I know that I'm not controlling my mind. My mind is controlling me. Nyasha, does that make sense? When I am not controlling my mind, but my mind is controlling me. I wonder if that's easy to understand. I just want to catch up on a couple of comments here while I wait for Nyasha's answer. Nada said, Jody, I have something. I was to see that. Wow, a YouTube channel called Parks Canada, and they do 360 views of beautiful locations. What a great idea! That must be. I've never seen that, but it must be very relaxing to watch. Erin, Judy says this. Erin, you are one major inspirations in my life, and I am forever grateful to you. You are a joy to know. And it's interesting, Nada said of the comment I made, that is so kind. I come here when I need peace. Yeah, and you bring it. You see, that is the funny thing, isn't it? Linda also says that. Linda says that she knows she's getting sucked in when it takes her on a pity party. Now, a pity party is when you start feeling sorry for yourself, Nyasha. When you feel like you're a victim. Thanks, Linda. That's awesome input. And Jody's saying, hi, Nada. I was just thinking about between soup and naps. Yeah, isn't that true? That was so cute when she said that. And it brought a smile, just thinking of you. Thank you for the information about the YouTube channel. How about that? Beth said, I would recognize it when I don't enjoy what I normally enjoy. That is how Beth knows that she's getting sucked in, is when things that normally bring her pleasure are not bringing her pleasure anymore. Wow. So Nada's saying, please, I gather that's keep you on the prayer list. And I'm certain Jody will make a note so that we can put up thoughts and prayers later on. You bet, Nada. She said she's been unwell a lot more often. I'm sorry to hear that, but in that also there is learning. All right. So one of the things that I have learned, and it was one of the things I talked to Jody about when she got ill as well, which is sometimes we need to get ill to find out what we're not doing for ourselves. Nada. Sometimes the only way the universe can get us to slow down is to make us unwell when we are forced to slow down. And that is a gift to know that. That you can see it. And I would encourage you to go, what is the gift I am getting by not being well? Is it that you are seeing you're capable of doing more than you thought you could in terms of coping? That slowing down doesn't mean that you are less productive. You're just doing things a different way. Or have you found out that by being sick, you found out that some things are more important than others, and that was something you were not clear on before? There is a gift in there somewhere. And so Nyasha says, yes, it did. I think I got confused. Oh, I was actually speaking about when others try to manipulate us. Yeah, I find that if I say no to somebody and they keep on trying to get me to do something, um, then I just know that they're trying to manipulate me. And so I tell you what, if you would, Nyasha, because to me, your questions are always really important to me, as are all the questions. But because I know that you have specifics, why don't you write to me and give me some examples of what you think is happening to you, or what you think is manipulation, and see if we can find you some tools for that. Would that help you? So just write to me and let me know specifically. I will do it either later tonight or maybe sometime tomorrow. I've got a busy day tomorrow, but I will get back to you because I always do eventually. It might not be in the first 24 hours. Hi, Kez. Good to see you. Kez says, I realize when I am being sucked in, when I don't want to socialize at all. Good one, Kez. Yeah, you don't want to go out at all. You find lots of reasons not to go out. Good. That's a very good one. You go out of your way not to be social. Yeah, nice one. Aaron saying, I have a question. I posted a status about being homesick, and one of my friends posted that I had to stop dwelling on it and that I had to control my emotions and my thoughts, or they will control you. I know that she was right, and so is everyone that says I just need to give it time. But I was angry at her for saying that. When I know she's right, why was I angry at her? Because you're human, Aaron. And because you are hurting, Aaron. And you are feeling lonely, Aaron. And you just need some support right now. But you see, that part of you that is so magical knows that she is right at some level. But you just didn't want to hear it at the moment. That's why you got angry, honey. Sending you a hug. This is going to be a difficult Christmas, and you people will make their judgments, Aaron, and that's okay. Let them do that, right? Some people just don't understand at the level that you would like them to. Beth said, my gift would be to slow the heck down before I burn myself out. I've learned to say no. The word no to me is a godsend, yes, and a complete sentence, as Jody always reminds us. Nyasha saying, and shouldn't the mind control us? All right. Don't get me wrong. I do understand what you're saying, but is that normal or not? Because parents often say, I'm not. Well, let me put it this way. I think that's a good question. I don't believe that my negative mind is my best self. I think that's the devil in me, if you know what I mean. And I am a lot better person, a lot nicer person, a lot happier when I let the positive control me. In other words, when I don't dwell on the negative. Now, I'm not grieving. So it's not like Erin at the moment, who is grieving and about to go through her first Christmas without her father in her life. That is serious stuff that Erin, and she's moved, seriously. So she's got a lot of change that has happened in this year, and she's going to need time to balance everything out. All right. And so that is different. But Erin, I really hope that you keep in touch with us all the way through this, because I think it's going to be important for you to learn those lessons and to realize that, that this is, you will be stronger for it eventually. And it's just going to take a bit of time. And also, Erin, so great that you can hear that from a friend, be angry, but still understand that she was right. I think that shows your incredible maturity. And, I'd like you to remember that. Jody's saying, Linda, I'm so sorry you're not feeling well. And you're in our thoughts and prayers as well. It's important to learn that lesson of letting go of some of the responsibility without guilt. It is called great self-care. And Ned is saying, you are all amazing people. Just know that. Well, you joined us, so you got to be one too. Niesh is saying, people don't manipulate me anymore because now I speak up for myself. I think that's why I nearly got into trouble with my boss. Yeah, I think it was as well. So Mr. Rogers said, forgiveness is a strange thing. It can sometimes be easier to forgive our enemies than our friends. It can be hardest of all to forgive people we love. Like all of life's important coping skills, the ability to forgive and the capacity to let go of resentments most likely take root very early in our lives. And that was a really big lesson when you watch the movie. Um, letting go of hate and resentment is a big part of that movie. And I honestly believe that very few of us are so advanced that we don't need that lesson. Right? You know what I mean? It was just like when I watched it, I went, I'm sorry I couldn't hear more of this because I know this was so true. And so many people when they watch the movie will see the magic of letting go of resentments. Yeah, and Erin's saying, of course, I will keep in touch. I'm not going anywhere now. I've been around this a long time. I mean, I stuck through you and Ozzy, so you must know I'm not going anywhere. You know something that is so cute with tears in my eyes. Right? Anybody that was there during the time of Ozzy and us in those days, and still around, it's amazing to me. I think, but Erin, I am so thankful that you are because of what you bring. All right, that's like I don't feel that we give to you. I think that we receive so much from you. Niesh is saying, but I've also come to realize that I am not depressed anymore. Long ago, I would have kept on arguing with myself about it and be sad. But thanks to you, I found the courage. You see, this is the whole thing, Yasha. That is your learning, right? Is that you realize now that you don't have to be depressed. All right. What was depressing? I've always said, and this is just my view, it's not clinical. I've always said that for me, anger turned inwards depresses me. When I'm angry, I start getting depressed. And so what I've learned to do, Nyasha, is to say to myself when I feel that anger, what am I angry about? And what haven't I done to stop it? It's an accountability check with me now. And I wonder whether, Beth, you find the same thing. Which is, I find when I have allowed a boundary to be crossed and not spoken up, I will start getting that feeling. It's interesting. Ned is saying, I wish I had been here from the beginning, but I feel I found you at the right time. Nada, one of the things that I always say, and particularly I was telling Jody about it way back, was I know that when people need to find us, they will. It's a most amazing thing. It really is. It's just like I, and the other thing is I've always believed in the quality, not the quantity. In other words, I would rather have a small group of us that work hard together, than a whole, you know, big group of people that are all don't have the same focus. Now that's pretty selfish of me, I guess, but it is true. Linda's saying, you taught me how to be a mum to Nicholas again. Good for him and me. I can hold my chin up and deal with the world, Sal. Thank you. Well, Linda, you know, I know this might sound strange to you, but one of the gifts that you brought me, and I don't think I've ever mentioned it, one of the gifts that you brought me was because you live on an English farm, or did, it brought me back to that part of my life where I lived on an English farm. And, whenever you came on, part of me would be back on the farm with you. And when you were talking about moving, I always remember, you describing, you know, how you moved. And it was just like I could see it because I've been there and done that. Beth is saying, when I get angry, I go silent. I revert back into hiding. It's important to speak up immediately before I choose to let myself go back into that darkness again. Yes, the sooner we speak up, the less anger will be attached to it. If you let the anger get inside you, it will fester and it will come out much more harshly than if you just go, "Whoa, wait a minute, hang on a second." That was an ouch. And Jodi's saying, I've learned so much and continue to learn from Sal and this wonderful extended family. And I am very grateful and thankful to each and every one of you. And I keep you all in my thoughts daily. Yep, I want to tell you, I am a witness to that one. That is very true. And Erin says, thank you. I appreciate it very much, but you give me so much too. You've all gotten through so much that I probably would never have gotten through. I lost both my parents and moved 3 times. Yeah, you did. You're amazing. Erin's saying, I got catfished and so much with all of you by my side. You know something though, Erin? We are all learning, honey. We are all learning. Niasha's saying, wait a minute, I just got to go back a bit because I must have missed something that Niasha said. Oh, I was speaking to my dad about it, and I don't know if he's for me or against me, but sometimes he tells me she didn't understand the severity of the problem, and it's so sad she didn't help me. Um, so, so you're saying that the coworker didn't understand the severity of your problem? Or was it that I didn't understand the severity of the problem? Oh, I think he is backing you up. When he says that he doesn't think the other person understood the severity of the problem, he is supporting you. He always goes around telling the former co-workers that she's my cousin when I try to distance myself from her. It's like he's not backing me up. Please explain all of this. Niasha, is she your cousin? Because just because he says that if it is true, then that's not disrespect. He's just stating a fact. Yeah. But it sounds to me like your daddy really does want to help you. And, I would, listen to him and ask for his input. What would he suggest you do to make this better or easier? You don't have to agree with him, but ask for his input. And, one of the things, if you ever get to watch this movie, It's a Wonderful Day in the Neighborhood, one of the things that really comes out through the whole of that movie, Nyasha, is every time somebody said something that Mr. Rogers didn't agree with, he would answer, that's an interesting perspective. Right? He didn't say, "No, I don't agree with you. You're a raving idiot." Da, 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 da. He'd listen, and he would listen without interruption, and then he would say, That's an interesting perspective. And it was just like he valued everybody. He didn't see anybody as the enemy. He learned from everybody and he gave to everybody. But the thing that came out so strongly throughout the whole movie is it just was who he was. He also said, I don't think anyone can grow unless he's loved exactly as he is now, appreciated for what he is rather than from what he will be. That is such a profound thing to think about. Is there anybody in your life that you are waiting to change before you really appreciate them? I know I can think of a couple. And so it's a big lesson, isn't it? The challenge we have is to appreciate people for who they are right now. And that is really requires a great deal of confidence because it also requires that we see everybody as somebody of great value. Hi, Jean. And Jean is saying we learn more by listening. Yeah, that was definitely his message as well. Niesha's saying the situation is all better now because I'm with a new team, but it comes back into my thoughts now and then. And I want to stop thinking about it, but it's like I cannot. Oh, that's a whole different bag of goods, that one, Niesha. Let's see what everybody else does, okay? So, do any of you have negative thoughts that come back? You weren't particularly good at this or you weren't particularly good at that. And they come, it happens to me all the time, Nyasha, where I think about, it comes into my mind, well, I didn't handle that very well. And then I go, no, but I've learned better since then. Nada says, yeah, she gets obsessive thoughts. Yeah. So the trick is to understand that there is a reason. I've noticed as I get older, I am beginning to get flashbacks of my youth a lot more often. And part of me goes, I think that's normal. I will be, discussing that a bit with my doctor, but I have noticed that I'm getting more and more flashbacks of things I did wrong in my youth. And, I keep seeing them in the flashbacks and going, wow, that wasn't my smartest move, but I was doing the best I could. Anisha, I think it would be really good for you when you start thinking about those things, going, I didn't handle it perfectly, but I did handle it the best way I knew how at the time, and I am still learning. And it may take me the rest of my life, and that is okay. You see, the trick is to understand there isn't a person in this room today. There isn't one person that has done everything right. We have all made mistakes and we regret them. But the trick is not to let them overtake the positive of what is today. And if you've made a mistake today, hopefully you will go, I don't want to keep thinking about this, so I want to fix this now. Jean says that I think it helps us look back, to feel the sadness and realize that now we can do better. Yeah. Jody's saying, I tend to second guess everything I do or say. I wonder if I've offended anybody unintentionally and that I could have said or done it better than I did. What an incredibly difficult way to live, Jody. And whilst I understand the consideration, because I believe that is that for you, and though I understand the consideration that you have, it is a terribly difficult way to live that you spend your time second guessing yourself. And there's part of me that wants to say it is part of your analytical gift. All right. It is, you are an analytical being. You are, funny enough, I think it's part of the reason that we get on, Jody, is because you and I both are creative but analytical. And, that is an unusual combination. You know what I mean? It's like some people are creative, but they're not normally also analytical. And so I would say that I think what you're constantly doing, and I could be wrong, so only you will know. I think what you're constantly doing is trying to improve. And if that is what it is, then smile. Because what a wonderful way to live, constantly looking to improve, as long as you're not beating up on yourself. Niesh is saying, I think it's because I cared about them, and I hope that they would assist me to the same point that I did care. I think it's disbelief type of thing, and that's why I told you. Yeah, you know something, Nyasha? It is a disappointment, isn't it, when we care about people and they don't care the same way back. Yeah. Beth is saying, we do learn by listening, but for me, I was silent and I would just listen and be a yes, ma'am. I learn more when I listen to myself first and foremost. That is a huge piece of learning. I quite agree, Beth. And also when I protect myself first. When I say protect myself, that I go, wow, that actually hurt. I just want to just say that, and I did, and now I feel about it differently. Jean is saying, I made so many bad mistakes, but I've learned to forgive myself, and that God has forgiven me. Yes. Nyasha, you say that you don't want to care anymore, but I have to tell you that I have known you long enough to know I do not believe that to be true. I think you are a very caring person. I really do. You just didn't know how to care for yourself because everybody always told you what you should think and do. And I think you are in this incredible moment in your life where you are finding out what you actually think. And anybody who's been through that will tell you, Nyasha, that is a very interesting time of your life where you go, I know what I was told to think, but what do I really think? Right? Do any of you relate to that so you can support Nyasha in that one? Kez is saying, I now realize and say to myself that my mistakes led me on a better path to a happier life. Yes, goodness only knows where we would be today if our dreams had come true. Do you know what I mean? It is because we were taken off that path that we have learnt the lessons that we have. And Yeshua is saying, I am stronger for what happened. Because my new coworker, I think, tried something on me. I was doing my work and she said, didn't you hear how the foreman spoke to her? Okay, I'll wait for the rest of that story. All right, so Nat is saying that she can relate. That's good. Mr. Rogers said, if you could only sense how important you are to the lives of those you meet. Thank you, Jody. How important you can be to the people you may never dream of. There is something of yourself that you leave at every meeting with another person. You see, I think that is so important for us all to know that sometimes we have no real understanding of the gifts that we bring in all our nothingness sometimes. The gifts that we bring to other people. You remember some time ago, I went to a lunch and the person said, "You're very intense," and I was quite upset about that because I don't see myself as very intense. But it was really funny because months later, somebody that knows her as well said, I wish you'd been a fly on the wall in my house yesterday. And I said, why? And she said, that person that thought you were very intense. I said, yeah, I will remember that person for a long time. And she said, she was saying how she wished that she had your strength of character. That when she listened to you, there was no doubt in her mind what you felt and what you believed and how you thought about things. And it turned out that what she wanted was to be able to be that passionate about something. A bit like Beth was saying, she'd been taught little girls should be seen and not heard, and she kept quiet on so many things. And then she said, just by watching the way that I reacted to stuff, yes, I was intense. And what I didn't realize was she would like to be that intense. So you see, we never know the gifts that we give to others without even meaning to. All right, so now carrying on with the story, Nia's just saying, all right, so I'm stronger for what happened because my new coworker, I think, tried something on me. I was doing my work and she said, did you hear how the foreman spoke to her? I heard it, but I said no. Also, I said, I don't want to get into it. And maybe that's just her way. Oh, you are getting very smart, Nyasha. Yeah, you're not getting sucked in to stuff. That's very good. I'm very proud of you. In times of stress, the best thing we can do for each other is to listen with our ears and our hearts, and to be assured that our questions are just as important as our answers. That our questions are just as important as our answers. How many of you have heard me say to people, how can I best support you now? Or how can we best support you now? Because, quite honestly, that is the most important question you can ask anybody that's under stress. All right, so Nia's just saying, now I'm saying no to everything, and that I don't want to get at. I am now trying to get out and off the hamster wheel mentally. We can hear that, Nyasha. It's amazing what you're doing. Jean is saying, when you think you have nothing, you still have your inner being. If another person acknowledges that, you are blessed. To deny a person's inner being can be a sin. Interesting. Mr. Rogers says that it is not the honors and the prizes and the fancy outsiders of life which ultimately nourishes our souls. It is knowing that we can be trusted, that we never have to fear the truth, that the bedrock of our very being is good stuff. I don't know about the rest of you, but every now and then I ask myself the question, if I were my true self, not acting out of fear or anger or reaction, if I were my true self, what would I do now? And it really helps me to make a decision. As you all know, in the next 48 hours, I am going to know whether I have definitely sold the house or not. But I just need to keep living my life until it's done. And because equally so, come Tuesday, I could be back on the market again and back at square zero again. And so, the most important thing that I've learned, and the biggest gift of this 6 months of trying to sell my house, is to learn that it's not all in my control. But what is under my control is how I choose to live in the meantime. Right? Well, that's so cute. Jane saying, I feel your great strength. I don't know if you know or not, Jane, but I have a personal motto that I live by. That I have. I wrote what I would like them to put on my tombstone, except I don't want a tombstone. But I actually wrote what I would like them to say about me. And it's really interesting that you should say that, because what it says, this is what I think 30 years ago I wrote this. And because I've always believed if you know what you want them to say about you, you can start living that life. And mine was, here lies Sal, who cared enough to share, shared enough to make a meaningful difference, and by so doing became a gentle giant inside. And so the fact, Jean, that you can feel my great strength, it makes me think that maybe I have done exactly what I wanted to do. And I will continue to do, because every day I ask myself that question. Have I shared today? And did I share enough to make a meaningful difference with somebody today? Because if so, I am increasing my ability to be a better person. Niesh is saying, I didn't have the skills before. Like my dad once said to me, I'm not an adult, I'm just older, which was so hurtful to hear. But the broadcast actually showed me I wasn't. Yeah, but you've grown up a lot, Nyasha. In the a very short time that we've known you, you have really grown up a great deal. And I need you to know that and feel it. Beth saying, oh gosh, my heart sank when you said your tombstone. Nope, nope, not going there. Hands over ears saying, la 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 la. But you understand, I don't want a tombstone, so it's not going there. No, but it's about, do you understand that I knew what it was I wanted to achieve. So many people say to me, how do I know what I meant to do in life? And my answer is, what would you like to have written on your tombstone? Live that life. Live it every day. And you notice it's not about money and it's not about fame. It is about, did I care enough to share? And did I share enough to make a meaningful difference? Because if I did, I will continue to grow as a person. Mr. Rogers said it's really easy to fall into the trap of believing that what we do is more important than what we are. Of course, that's the opposite of what's true. What we are ultimately determines what we do. True? What we are determines what we do. Jean is saying of me, she said, you are a teacher. You have been a teacher to many for a long time. You are sharing the very best of yourself. It's interesting, Jean, that I feel better when I broadcast. I can be feeling really not well, but when I do a broadcast, it lifts my spirits. It gives me power. And not because I think I am a guru or whatever. It is about, I know that we together help each other grow. Niasha's saying, um, I used to say yes to everything. I got into other people's situations. I had no clue about the tactics used in manipulation. I thought the whole world loved me and much more. I was like a universal sponge, but now I am tougher. Yeah. It's not that people, you just learn that not everybody has your heart and soul, Nyasha. And that doesn't make them bad people. They just haven't learned as much yet. And part of our gift to the world is we can help other people grow. All right, Beth says that she's scared to death about dying. My whole life has been like a dark hole. Death feels like that to me as well. I know it won't be like that, but it's still in my frame of mind. I will get better with time. Yeah, it's interesting, Beth, because that's not how I feel, but maybe that is for another broadcast that I will talk about that. Knowing what we can knowing that we can be loved exactly as we are gives us all the best opportunity for growing into the healthiest of people. You see, it is important for us to know that even with our imperfections, we are lovable. And that is why when other people try to help us, the nicest thing you can go is, wow, thank you. I'll give that some thought. Because even if you don't agree with it right now, maybe it's a piece of knowledge that you will need in a year from now. Right? I can remember a number of times I was talking to Benji about different things about, the internet or whatever. And I suddenly would say, gosh, I just realized that 1 and 1 equals 2. And he'd say, but I told you that a year ago. And I'd say, I'm sure you did, honey. And I am sure that my brain took it in and filed it away somewhere. But you see, I wasn't ready to understand it yet. Right? And that's what I love about Nyasha, that she hears it and doesn't understand it and says, I don't understand it, explain it a different way. And that takes a lot of interest. I hear things and I think I understand them. Does anybody relate to that? I actually think I understand them. And then I realize later, no, I didn't understand that, but I do now. And that's okay. That's what growing is about. And I am happy to keep growing. Little by little, we human beings are confronted with situations that give us more and more clues that we are not perfect. And in that we are vulnerable, and in that is our greatest gift. When you can actually be amused by your own vulnerability, when you can actually be amused by the fact you're not perfect rather than beat up on yourself because you're not perfect, I think is the greatest gift. When I was sitting in the car going, it is -2 degrees, and then I thought, I better learn what that is in American. And I hit the button in my car that switches it over, and I went, okay, so that is 29 degrees Fahrenheit. I am wearing a summer sweater and a thin raincoat. Am I insane or what? And I burst out laughing. And then I kept thinking of all the good things. Thank goodness I was going somewhere where I was going to be parking underground. I was going to be in an underground parking thing. I'm going, thank goodness for that. I'll be less cold. And thank goodness that I could just go from the underground parking to where we needed to eat because it was all in the same complex. And I'm going, yay. And I assure you that when I got inside the restaurant, I'm going, that is so nice and warm. And when we were walking, I was trying to walk as fast as I could with Marnie so that I would, keep my blood circulation, so I would be warm. But it was just so amusing. It was like, really, what was I thinking? I am imperfect, no doubt about it. Beth said I went to work and only put mascara on one eye. I'm definitely not perfect. Oh, I love that. Um, have you ever put on different shoes? I did it once. How I did it, I will never know. I had I had two different shoes on. One style on one foot and another style. They were very close. And I think one was black and one was dark blue, but I didn't notice until I got to work. And I just went, hey, really. And they probably think I've totally lost it now. So Beth, anybody else want to beat that one bit for Beth, so that she doesn't feel so bad about it? All right, so Niasha's saying something we all understand. She said, I find it difficult to treat individuals kindly when they didn't treat her kindly. And that's why I got upset when my dad goes around saying that my former boss is my cousin. I don't want to hear that. Is she your cousin? That's what I'm trying to find out. Beth wore her shirt inside out. Yeah, I've done that one as well, Beth. Yeah, I've done that. Yeah. Love and success, always in that order. It's that simple and that difficult. Love and success. And it was so funny because I have been, as you know, we've been working all this year on emotional intelligence. And I've been sitting there sort of when I've been driving and doing stuff, waiting for guidance as to what it is that we can concentrate on for next year. And I was thinking, what a wonderful thing to concentrate a year of learning on, which is how to be um, a better person. All right. In terms of what Mr. Rogers was all about. And so that is, with your permission, that is what our skill will be for next year, is being that better person, learning to love. And I think it is a wonderful gift if we can do that. Jean saying, my 91-year-old Marion is so kind. Yes. Nesha saying, yep, she is my dad's cousin. So he says it's mine also. Yeah. So that is a fact. If she is your daddy's cousin, then she is your cousin once removed. Is that correct? Is that how it works? Okay. I think that's what they call that she's my cousin once removed. In other words, this is your daddy. Okay, and this is the cousin. And because you are his daughter, she is your cousin once removed. I think that is correct, but I could be wrong. I'm certain somebody here will understand that. Erin went to school wearing pajamas when it wasn't pajama day. Yeah, I've gone to work wearing my gardening shoes. I did that once, I remember. God, it's so funny. The plastic ones. So Nyasha, can you see that? So that, I can see where your daddy's thought is. I just wonder if you can see there is a link. Hopefully you can see that. Caring relationships require kindness, patience, tolerance, optimism, joy in other people's achievements, in their confidence in oneself, and ability to give without undue thought of gain. Giving without receiving. Giving for the joy of giving. Our society is much more interested in information than wonder, in noise rather than silence. And I feel that we need a lot more wonder and a lot more silence in our lives. So Jodie's confirming. That's right. Right, so she is a cousin once removed. That's what the expression is, Nyasha. Let's see if she got it. Let's whether I drew it correctly so she can understand it. Thank you, Jodie, for the confirmation. Jean is saying that she always keeps hope in her life. It's interesting. Beth says, one day I forgot to put deodorant on and I went into the office and put some on. And then I forgot that there was a camera in there recording. Someone's going to get an eyeful if they need to watch the camera that day. You bet. Um, and we've all done it, Beth. We've all done something similar and then realized, oh gosh, I think that was on camera. You know, if you want to feel better about it, Beth, I was busy speaking at a really big event, thousands of people in the audience, right? And I went to the washroom with my remote microphone was still turned on. Feel better now, Beth? Only Sal, right? Real strength has to do with helping others. How many of you have been on the broadcasts and we've helped somebody and that you've left the broadcast feeling, wow, we did some good today? Have any of you ever felt like that? One of the things that I've always said to myself was that I literally, if I can feel that we helped anybody, it's worth doing. It's worth the time it takes to put together a broadcast. It is worth um, the effort and the whatever. And so to me, my greatest gift is if I know we helped somebody. Right. You see, Nyasha? Nyasha saying, thanks for the explanation, Jody. I never understood the complexities of how family ties go, but thanks for the knowledge. Much appreciated. Yeah. So you see, you are related to that cousin, even though you don't think of it. That it's your daddy's cousin, not yours. The truth is that does link in. That person becomes your cousin once removed. It's not your direct cousin, but your cousin once removed. And so I think it's great that you can see that. Well done, Nyasha. And hopefully the picture helped a little bit. Some days doing the best we can may still fall short of what we would like to be able to do. But you see, life isn't perfect on any front. And doing what we can with what we have is the most we should expect of ourselves or anybody else. So that is why it is my goal that for the next year, when we start 2020, we will be kinder to ourselves. Bye bye, Nyasha. Thanks you for coming here. And that's what we will be working on, being kinder to ourselves. Hi there, Kimmy, and we hope you had a great Thanksgiving as well. We're talking quotes from Mr. Rogers today because I went to go and see A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Yeah, Beth is saying it's kind of good to fall short. It inspires us to do more. Yes, and maybe some of you do what I do, which is when I finish my day and I give thanks for it, one of the things I say is, how could I improve that tomorrow? Jody says, I feel uplifted after every broadcast. It's a gift to be here and to learn from one another and to appreciate each other's uniqueness. Nada, absolutely. Listen to that one. Nada says, by being kinder to ourselves, we eventually will be kinder to others. How was the movie on a scale of 1 to 10? I would say probably 7, but I missed a lot of the dialogue because I didn't have my hearing aid with me, and I was below an air vent thing that made a lot of noise. So I just missed a lot of the dialogue. But I want to tell you, I got so much out of it anyway. And I am really looking forward to seeing it again. Does that tell you what you need to know? I honestly came out of there, and I was saying earlier, Nada, that my friend Marnie made the comment that I thought was so incredibly meaningful. She said as we came out, we grew up listening to the wisdom of Mr. Rogers. He taught us how to deal with emotion, and he taught us how to deal with fear, and he taught us so many things. And she said, we grew up with those values that he taught us. We grew up with, Sesame Street. How many of you remember Sesame Street? Did the same thing, taught a lot of good values and good coping skills. And what she said to me is, Sal, what do the young people watch today? Right? I thought that was really amazing because it was a good question. What are they doing today? What are they listening to? Are their minds getting fed today? And it's not Mr. Rogers and it's not Sesame Street necessarily. And Kimmy, I'm pretty sure that the values that you find missing in your grandchildren are the ones you learned with Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers. You see, that is the interesting thing. We learned those values and we lived them because we were taught them early. And so it is an interesting thing that today's children are not getting fed that same stuff. Now, how about this one for an incredible quote here? The greatest gift you ever give is your honest self. Beth, listen up. The Beth that you showed to the world was not the real Beth at all, was it? It was a quieter, subservient, scared person. It is who you were. But the real Beth was not that person. And I would say that each of us, when we can give the world our honest self, you don't have to try to be your honest self. It's just like I keep saying that to myself. If I didn't have fear, how would I handle this? Right? If I didn't have to worry about money, would I thoroughly enjoy Christmas this year? Yeah. And I only have to worry about money for Christmas if I don't sell the house, right? The house, well, I won't see, even if I've sold the house, I won't see any money until February. That's a long way away, people. That's a lot of money away. But the kid in me enjoyed that. But I also look at it and go, I just need to juggle a bit more. And I'm getting good at juggling. We're going to do the countdown. Start on 1 second. And I'm hoping that some of you have gained something from listening to some of the Mr. Rogers quotes. And for those of you who are in the States and just had Thanksgiving, you do have another 12 months and 21 hours until the next Thanksgiving. I thought you'd like to know that. And for those of us in Canada, we only have 10 months and 15 days until ours. And for those of you who celebrate Easter, you have 4 months, 12 days, 18 hours, 3 minutes to go. And for those of you like Sal, who do not necessarily enjoy winter, but I'm going to learn. Spring is just 108 days away. And by next week, it'll only be 101 days away. It'll be nearly double digits. I'm so excited. And really, we are already double digits to when the clocks go forward, just 97 days away. As some of you know, Mercury will be back and in retrograde in February. Valentine's Day is just 2 months away. And Christmas, just 23 days. Have you sent your overseas parcels and cards? I've got them right here waiting for the addresses to go on. Wow. Beth saying we've already got a shipment of spring clothes at the store. Isn't that amazing? So the thing is that next year is coming faster than we know. And so I don't often ask for thoughts and prayers for Sal. But I would like to just say that if it's meant to be by the next broadcast, or before that, because I'll put it up on Facebook. But I could have a sold sign on my lawn, and and then we will move on to the next step, and that will be. Now, which do you think the next step should be? Let's see if we all agree on this. Do you think the next step is to find somewhere to live or start packing? Thank you, Beth. I appreciate that. You find somewhere to live. Yeah. So that will be my next goal. And in fact, I've got this sort of mindset that if on Wednesday morning I could be out and about looking for my new place. But there's one thing that I need to find out first. So actually, I might be going to the bank to have a discussion with the bank. If I get the offer clean by Tuesday, I will print it out and take it to my bank. Now, you all know why, right? We've discussed this. Once I have a clean offer on my house, I can use the equity in my house and I can borrow against my own equity. Equity being, okay, for those of you who don't know this, I don't mean to be. Okay. Equity is, I have a bit of a mortgage left on my house. Okay. And then I have what the house is going to sell for. Okay? The difference between this figure, I take this figure, what the house is going to sell for, and I take away what I owe the bank, and that would leave 2x here, which is my equity. That's my money. X is their money, and 2x is my money. Does that make sense? That's equity. So I will be able to get a loan against my equity if I have a clean sale on my house. Now, what I don't know, and I need to find out is, I'm just going to talk. Let's say that my equity is 100,000. Okay? And it's not, but if my equity is 100,000, can I now buy a house? You see, it's difficult to get a mortgage if you are retired, all right, because you don't have a lot of money coming in. But what I'm thinking is either I'm going to buy a new place with part of that 100,000, but it's not 100,000, or can I actually invest the 100,000 and get a mortgage and make money? Am I getting way too complicated on that? If so, I'll work out how to put that visually in a better way. But part of me goes, maybe I do need to take part of a mortgage because it will leave me the ability to be able to use my money and make more money than I would in a bank. Anyway, that's my next thinking. So I need to go talk to the bank about that one. All right. So everybody, I wish you a wonderful time. For those of you who are interested, it's Sal's 3-cheese mac and cheese this evening. And I'm thinking I will do a topping. Jody, I was thinking about this today. If I do a topping of bacon on top of the mac and cheese, it will help balance the sugar spikes. Am I correct in that one, Jody? It suddenly struck me why, if I put protein with the mac and cheese, it will help balance out the sugar spikes. Oh, and for those of you who don't know, I did go and have my blood sugar tested, my what they call the A1C, and I did another 3-month test, and I'm good on that one. I will be going to the doctor tomorrow. And so, hopefully I'll get another thumbs up from him that I'm doing the right things. So, and really, I couldn't have done it without your help, Beth. If you could see me every morning when I have my little protein snack thing, I still think of you every morning when I do that. And now learning that, protein and mayo is a really good combination for me. It keeps me going much longer than a lot of other things that I've had. And Jody, all that you've taught me about not panicking about the sugar spikes every now and then, that, I can control it, has really taken away a lot of the guilt. And I really thank you for talking me through that on a couple of occasions where I just got out of control. And you taught me just to be patient and do what I can, and it'll come back down again. It just takes longer to go back down than it does to go back up, right? But I really am getting it. I have kept Jody, I was thinking about that. I actually have a special spreadsheet that I have that calculated my A1C. So that I was pretty sure my A1C was going to be fine. And I was thinking, if that would be of any value to you, I'll gladly share it with you. All right, Beth is saying she's thinking about a new puppy for Christmas. And you don't know if you're ready yet. If you're thinking about a new puppy for Christmas, you are ready. And you still feel like you're cheating on Peanut, even though he's been. You know something, Beth? Peanut would want you to share your love with another puppy. I believe, right? The same way as I can hear Bean saying to me, "Why haven't you got another dog?" Right? And that's one of the things I'm looking at, because it depends on where I go as to whether I will be able to have another dog. Of course, you just miss him, Beth. You will always miss him. Bean Bean's been gone nearly 6 years, I think. Yvonne will tell you. But I will always miss him. I still miss Bud. I will miss Bud for the rest of my life, and he was before Bean Bean. So, it isn't any lack of love for Peanut that you get another dog. It is there is a little dog out there that needs your love. Will you stop thinking about yourself, Beth? Think about the puppy that's going to get you for a mum. That is where your mind needs to go. Yes, you're saying I will miss him when they're wrapping gifts and him trying to get to the paper. Absolutely. So don't be selfish here, Beth. Go give a dog a Christmas present of you. See it the other way. And Peanut will be so excited. All right? Absolutely adopt, yeah. There is a puppy out there just waiting to be owned by you. By the way, my friend Marnie, Beth, you know that her older dog died a couple of months ago, and her mum was in the States and happened to visit a pound, and found a 7-year-old dog that she knew nobody was going to adopt, and so what was going to happen to that dog, and she picked it up and brought it home, and his name is Joey, and he's really very cute. For those of you who've met Grover, hang on a second. Just hold on. Okay. Oh. So that's Grover. That one is Grover. And this is little Joey. And that's the doggy that Marnie's mom brought back from the States. Now, guess which one is the alpha dog? That little one is busy protecting Grover. All right? So you go do it, Beth. Don't do it for you, do it for the dog. Okay. This is DearMamaSal off to put bacon on the mac and cheese so that the sugar spikes will be less. It came to me when I was busy cooking part of it today. I thought, wait a minute, if I put bacon on top, it will not only taste awesome, but I think it will help the sugar spikes. Why didn't I think of that before? Because I didn't. I'm not perfect. So I'm looking forward to a beautiful day in the neighborhood coming onto digital so that I will be able to watch it again. And I do recommend that you go see it if you can, or wait for it to come out if you can, and learn a lot. And with your permission, we will be doing a lot more about being kind to ourselves and others. And in that, I think we will learn a lot of more skills. How to reply kindly to people who are, critical of us or whatever. I'm going to try and have that as the focus for next year. And I believe that also will help us for our emotional intelligence because we will be happier people if we can learn those skills. This is Dear Mama Sal, or improve on them, right? So this is Dear Mama Sal saying, yes, Jean's saying she's expecting 6 inches of snow. We are expecting snow. Jody is expecting a foot of snow, Jody. Is that right where you are? I think. And if you can imagine it, Jean, she needs medication to be picked up tomorrow. Right? So you can imagine, and it's medication she can't get ahead of time because it's, high pain medication. It's now up to 15 inches of snow. Jody is expecting tomorrow, and she needs Lionel to go out and get medication for her. So you can imagine that is quite something. So stay safe, Jean, and stay warm, and be grateful that you have a roof, and be grateful that you have a way to keep warm. And um, just pray that Jody's Lionel will be safe when he goes out to try and get that medication for Jody. You will be in my thoughts. I'm going to the doctor tomorrow as well, but I don't think it'll be snowing here. I think it's just they're expecting some wet stuff tonight. This is Dear Mama Sal saying, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. What I learned last night watching the movie was the beauty is within us. If we are beautiful people, it will always be a beautiful day in the neighborhood. This is Dear Mama Sal saying, bye bye for now.